a very young age, I've always wanted to join the army.
Proud Bidjigal man Ethan Moffitt is an army combat engineer on his second tour in the Solomon Islands.
It's good being here, knowing that you're having a good effect in helping the Solomon Islands people.
Born into a long line of military men, the 25-year-old was inspired by his dad.
The morals and the values that he holds, I believe, comes from the 27 years of service that he did.
Hello.
Finally got a hold of you.
Do you know what you're doing yet for Anzac Day? Where you're going to be or what you're doing?
No, I'm not too sure. I'll be thinking about you back home, thinking about Pop, thinking about Pa. I'll be missing you.
Yeah, I miss you too, bud.
Ethan's dad, retired Warrant Officer Class 2 Darren Moffitt, joined the Army when he was 17 years old.
There's a lot of rivalry, between the services, but at the end of the day, everyone is one part of one big family.
So these are mine. Active Service Medal with the East Timor class.
Earning his stripes, rising through the ranks, Darren served in Australia's largest peacekeeping operations in East Timor in 1999, deploying as an air dispatch transport platoon sergeant. He went on to train new recruits.
And privileged position to be able to turn a civilian into a soldier at the end of the day.
This is the wreath I'm going to lay on Anzac Day, so I'm just building the wreath up with gum leaves and gum nuts.
For the men that came before him, there was an unspoken battle.
My grandfather, he didn't share details around his service. He would talk about, fun times that he had.
Blue represents the smoke.
A stolen generation survivor, Darren's grandfather, Harold James Stewart, fought on the front lines of Bougainville and New Guinea. But many of the equal conditions First Nations people experienced in the military did not continue when they returned home.
I think blackfellas weren't even able to join the RSL back in those days, so he had nowhere to go to and there was no counselling. He just dealt with it in his own way, being a religious man. He never marched on Anzac Day, and I never really knew why.
At his granddad's funeral, Darren's father shared a story.
There was an accident and people in his gun crew got killed and nothing happened to him. And I haven't verified that story, but it's just a story that was told to me. But it kind of makes sense because he had no mates. They would have been his mates.
Darren sourced the war medals that his grandfather never received. He still keeps the replicas.
And on the day of his funeral, I wore my uniform and I pinned his medals to his chest and he was buried with them.
On Wiradjuri country, on the border of New South Wales and Victoria, Darren's mother Sandra's home is filled with photos of her family heroes.
I'm very proud of them for stepping up, serving their country, making the commitment that they do.
Sandra's husband Neville was a medic in the Navy for more than 20 years, serving in Vietnam and the Gulf War, while she was at home with their 2 kids.
You marry that person. You don't sort of marry his job. They're on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then you realise that you're in this too.
They're working with Zodiacs.
For Sandra, today is a sacred day.
We have a responsibility to remember them and live the best life we can.
It wasn't that long ago that this memorial began flying the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags. Standing tall and proud this Anzac Day, Darren is representing First Nations servicemen and women to make sure their stories aren't forgotten.
Both my grandfathers, paternal and maternal, my father's service in the Navy, my service and my son's service in the Army. So I think it's important that the recognition is there, and I feel privileged that I can do that.